And hello, good people of the internet. It is I, Tommy Kelly. This is Adventures in Woo. This is another 47's divination video. We do these every month for the great people over on Patreon who send me in their questions. I pick a card and then say what that represents. But I want to preface this entire thing, as I always do with these things, with how I see divination, just that there's no kind of confusion around it. Take all of what insight or advice is offered as more along the lines of advice from a friend than the word of God, or some predestination or some sort of divine revelatory. This is going to happen, and there's no way out of it. That it's all the plan or whatever it is, whatever we want to go to. It's just the same as if you were talking to someone over a cup of coffee and we're asking them for their advice on your question. And you take it on board, but you wouldn't think it as it's the only solution, or it's the word of God or whatever. The 47 to me are like a way of looking at your question from a perspective that you probably wouldn't have normally looked at it. It's a different kind of view on something. It's like from an archetypical point of view, or a different kind of energetic view, whatever way, words, whatever you want to go with on these things. And I find it personally very helpful in that kind of way. But again, just to stress, it's not, if you don't like the answer, you don't agree with the answer, or you don't find the answer helpful, feel absolutely free to totally ignore it in the same way you would if a friend of yours gave you shitty advice that you didn't agree with. Okay, so we'll go straight into these because there's lots this month. Start with a bit of a shuffle. Hope everyone is okay. Next Monday, Tommy gets to go to a forest for the first time in a few months. We've been pretty much in lockdown, full lockdown here in Ireland since this all began. I think we're the country that's been in the most full lockdown for in the world since this all started. So I can't wait to be surrounded by trees. So that's my good news. Marco, my main client is up for renewal. Will I stay with them even if it implies changing companies? The planet. Okay, Marco, so the planet is the kind of thing is where you have to be aware of the things that you're surrounding yourself by and what's kind of in your orbit, or when we have this kind of vision of Earth, we kind of see it's just, this lovely clear skies, you see the pictures from the moon, but in reality it's full of junk. It's full of like satellites, it's full of broken satellites, full of different bits and pieces that we've put up there. And the same, we're doing the same space that we do to our actual planet. But from a kind of an energetic point of view, if you want, what are you holding around you? What is the kind of what are the things that you're surrounding yourself by, your ideas, your people, labels, clients, and all of these things. And just have a kind of, it's not necessarily saying this is all bad, because like satellites give us TV, phones, GPS, the world runs by it, but some of it's going to be junk, some of it's going to be useful, and you just kind of have to work out which bits are which, and which is killing the planet, it needs to be cleaned up, and which is, positive and beneficial. So, my main client is up for renewal. Will I stay with them even if it implies changing companies? The suggestion is to look about how it's affecting your energy and how your clutter, and does it feel like you need to clean it out and start fresh, or does it feel like this client and the changes that are about to happen is worth keeping? And it's one of those things where I assume you already know the answer. It's like, and if you don't, toss a coin in the air to make the decision, and then notice which way you want it to fall, and that's usually the thing you want. Yeah. Kristen, I'm considering a move, but it's daunting. Is it the right impulse? The media. So, there's a suggestion here that there's some sort of something around this move, or something around your decision around this move is to do with, in some way, what other people think of it. That there's some sort of hesitation around that, and how it will look, like, what will the neighbours think, kind of thing, or let's say you're significantly moving up from a tiny shack to a huge mansion. Is there kind of a feeling that people will start talking, or the other way, are you in a huge mansion and have to downsize to a tiny shack because you get more into minimalism, and again, is there some sort of a PR issue around it, or how you think this move is going to be seen by someone else, and that's kind of suggested that's the kind of crux of the decision. And Tommy says you don't care what anyone else thinks, but you might, and that's fine. And just to whatever it is that is responding to that, into try and do it in the most positive way so that everyone just leaves you alone, or is happy for you. But if it is a case that you're just worried about what other people are going to talk or say or do around your decision, in that, oh, my mother's going to say you shouldn't get so much into debt, or this rent is too high, or whatever, don't make the decision for yourself, not by what other people are saying or worried about. Worry about what you're worried about. Shiro, could I have a general reading about what the next few months might bring and what to work on? The Adventurer. Well, so the next few months for you would be about getting out of your comfort zones in a kind of very physical way. I always bring it up, but getting out of your comfort zone. The Explorer is more kind of the inner work and kind of, coming up with new ideas and new kind of, reading different books, express, or like kind of getting into different philosophies, that kind of thing, where the adventure is very much out there, practical, doing things, having adventures in the real world, rather than adventures in a fantasy book. There's nothing wrong with obviously reading fantasy books or reading books, but this is not what the adventure is saying that you're being called to do, is actually get out there and doing stuff, and widening your horizons, stretching yourself a wee bit, and having fun, of course. The adventure is all about having fun. So have some fun. Matt, is it a good move to work in the cannabis industry again while I am in Missouri? This is probably just going to come out like a yes or no type of a question or answer. The seer, what's your gut telling you? You already know the answer. Seer, I suppose, and the counterpart, the thinker. Sorry, I'm from Ireland, I can't pronounce H's. The thinker. So it's, the thinker would be thinking about logic, write down on paper what looks best on paper, what is the best decision to be made given all the facts. The seer is, how does it feel? It might be a great decision for you, it might be loads of money, it might be, good opportunities, but it feels wrong, there's something not right. The danger with the seer is that you can also mistake it for anxiety and worry, in that sometimes the things that feels right is also something that means you have to step out of yourself and out of your comfort zones, and that can feel anxious, but it's not the same thing. It's have a kind of, the gut decision you can use an excuse of, oh, this makes me feel anxious, to say that it's a bad decision, where it's not necessarily. So just be aware of that. But the seer always, when it comes up in a reading, I always kind of feel that the person knows what the answer is already, because they've already had the feeling around it. Spirit, how can I increase my healing session bookings? I suppose wait for the end of the pandemic and the lockdowns for a start. But I suppose you could be doing them remotely. But let's see what the 40 servants say. The sun. So the sun is all about your energy, about putting power, into use. So there's kind of there's a thing, I suppose, saying that you need to put a bit more work into it, energy into it. And that's kind of, it's not really that helpful. And so why is my business not working? Oh, you just need to work harder. But I don't think that's what it's saying here. It's saying more, there's a personal energy that can be brought to this, that rather than doing more hours, putting up more posters, spending more time advertising, not going door to door telling people. It's not that. It's this kind of a building up of an energy, of a personal power, a radiance. So in a sense, there's a kind of a thing of working on your healing abilities, your healing sessions, all of the kind of the things that's, your healing room, your healing process, all of that, working at it, empower all of that, rather than necessarily trying to go out looking for people to come. And it's like kind of, and building the personal thing, and build it and they will come. As much as I hate that, because there's so much wrong with that, but it is that like work on the things you can do at the minute, and then let the kind of client space build up out of that, like from hearing good reports, good reviews and stuff. But be as a great a healer you can in the capacity that you feel that you want to be. And then it'll chain on. So think about personal power, radiance, the sun, energy, positive attitude, all of those kind of cliche stuff. Max, I have some big expenses coming up around the end of May and the 1st of June. What's the best course to take to make sure I will have all the funds I need? Well, good luck with that, Max. The dead. Okay, so the dead obviously there's an ancestral component to it, and it's kind of all of the things that we'd associate with the dead and that. But one of the main things is kind of learning from history, learning from the past. So there's kind of thing, how did you do this before, when there was big things coming up where you had big expenses? What was the process that you did before? Where did it go right? Where did it go wrong? Where could you improve upon that? And see it from that way. Have friends of yours or family members been in similar situations? What did they do? What did they do right? What did they do wrong? Is there something that you can learn from the past? It's essentially what the dead's in here. Some sort of significant moment or similar moment in the past happened to you or your family or your lineage or people you know. And there's something that you can learn from that will you can adapt to an approach for your current situation or your forthcoming situation. So, we can go to the other screen. Bira. Bira, I never know if your name is Bira or Bira or pronounced Chizawuzzle. I doubt it's the last though. What is the most important thing for me to focus on in my career? I'll leave out the last bit just so that it doesn't distinguish you from other people on the internet. The cards have been a bit sticky. By that I mean that they're kind of all clumping a bit together, and there's 3 that's come out. Now, Beer, I'm going to show you these, but I'm going to leave them to your own devices. It's the Messenger, the Adventurer, and the Witch. So there's obviously something in this that wants to be spoken about. I'll do it very quickly. Messenger, there's a message for you that you may or not be willing to listen to, or are not listening to, or there's something that's been trying to be told to you that you're avoiding, not hearing, or not believing in the sense of that's too good to be true. You know, it's not always a negative thing that, I just don't want to hear that, my life is shit or something. No, it's like, you might want to hear your life is brilliant and that things are going to work out. But so there's a message for you. The Adventure, have fun, and push yourself and do things that you wouldn't normally do, and get out there and, enjoy it, widen it in a physical kind of capacity. And the Witch, be aware of magic in the thing that, like, not be aware of like curses or that kind of, like, that you're a magician. Do some magic. But look into that yourself a bit closer. There are 3 cards you could spend a bit of time with around your new adventure. Okay. David, how can I increase more harmony with my team at workspace? The Witch, by doing magic, David. Plenty of magic can be done around harmony. Hoodoo is also really good if you to get into for practical type stuff. Like they seem to have a kind of a spell or a conjuration or whatever's the correct word in that parlance to in that for anything, particularly around things like law and stuff like that, court cases and love and work. Very, very practical type stuff that people find themselves in. As I said before, people don't come to magic normally because their life is great, because usually there's something going on, and Hoodoo seems to have a thing for that. So do a search around positive work space things in a Hoodoo on Google or something. You might find something interesting. But let me see. Sigils, obviously, of course, you can do all that kind of thing. There's the opposite of the sour bottles or the witch bottles, which we use to curse someone. We put in all, bits of their hair, but also all nasty stuff as well. Do the opposite thing. The name's escaping at the minute, like a sweet bottle or something, where so to sweeten people up, put in fruits, sweets, their pictures, something that represents them. Don't be weird, pull their hair out or get their fingernails or anything like that. Just some sort of sympathetic thing with them, and have a sweetener kind of thing. Also, the practical things have just been nice to people. Buy donuts if you're in a physical workspace, all those things. People like all that, just small things. Helping people out. The one thing that's always touted in kind of the self-help books or around these things is that if you allow someone to help you, they're warm towards you much more than anything else you'll do. So ask for help, and you'll find that people can gravitate towards you. Not in a big way. Don't ask for like, will you come and help me move my house? It's 3 days work, you're not getting paid. But how do you do this in Photoshop? What is this? I don't know how to do this, and let someone explain it to you. And people seem to warm to you from doing things like that. So yeah, but do magic. Merrily, how are we doing time? Not so bad, not so bad. I'd also like a general reading. No worries, Merrily. There is a lot going on for me in the next few months. What should I keep in mind? The balancer. Well, I mean, it's obvious enough. Keep things in balance. If you have a lot going on, spend some time on your own. You know, retreat, rebuild your energy. You know, be aware of yourself. If you know, don't let your diet go mental. You know, don't just eat loads of junk food because you've no time. Try and, you know, eat as well as you can, given your circumstances. You know, have time for yourself, have time for your family, have time for your work, do all the things. Keep everything in balance. So it's if a lot going on for you, that the call then is just to make sure that you don't let it fall. You know, some area of your life fall apart just because you're so busy. Very easy to say, a lot harder to do. So good luck with that. But I mean, just keep it in the back of your mind at all times. Grayson, what should I be focusing on for the next month? Balance. Always happens. You'll get one servant coming out a number of times in these readings. Yeah, so the same thing as I've just said to Mary, just keep things in balance. Don't be doing far too much in one area, neglecting another area. In the sense of, let me see, you know, don't be doing so much work that you're neglecting your family. I mean, that's the obvious one, but you know, don't spend so much time with your family that you're neglecting your work. You know, the less touted one, or you know, spend as much time on the piano as you do on the tin whistle, or whatever it is. Just don't overexert in one area to the neglect of another. Be that diet, love, work, reading, all of those things. So just a general balance thing to be aware of, Grayson. Natasha, how do I open the way to a dialogue? Okay, the mother. Think of it as coming from, how would a mother do it with a child? How would a loving parent or a loving interaction, someone who is in a position of, so the kind of thing that I'm feeling is that it's putting that other person first, in that it's about, you know, nurturing and looking after and caring is the primary function of a mother, to look after the child. It's not really about her at that point, it's about the other person. So just kind of put the emphasis on the other person, on the caring, on for the time being finding out what their needs are, rather than trying to, I don't know what their situation is, but rather than trying to immediately get what you're looking for out of the dialogue or the interaction. It's coming at it from a motherly point of view, caring, nurturing, basic needs met, or the basic needs met of this interaction is the things that need to be done there or in place. Is there aspects of you being a terrible mother, or demanding too much, you know, too hard on discipline or something like that? Not really sure, and I don't want to go too far on this because I can just veering into talking about, you know, motherhood in general in regards to things. But yeah, so come at it from the point of view of how a loving parent would attack this situation. But they wouldn't attack the situation. They'd gently come into it. Jason, what am I building towards? The sun. Yeah, energy, personal power, strength, radiance. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know just by saying the sun to you, you know exactly what I'm pointing to in this regards. Every man and every woman is a star, Jason. Remember that. So, Craig, I have to say, I'm not fully sure I understand this question when I come in and email, but I'll try my best to answer it. My psychic advisor tells people I'm a good person. I'm sure you are a good person. So why won't my psychic advisor ever read for me? I assume you mean do like a card divination reading thing. That's question you should be asking them, essentially. But let's see what the 40 servants say. The Saint. Something, the two aspects of the Saint seem to be relevant. Something about an intermediary that your reader or your psychic advisor is probably suggesting that you don't need someone to do a reading for you, because you do it for yourself. That's actually the answer. That you shouldn't be looking for someone else to give you the answers. That you have the ability within yourself, and that don't defer or don't give away your power to someone else thinking that they have something that you don't. In the sense of a psychic advisor, they know something that I can't possibly know because of some sort of thing. And so don't do that. You have exactly the same thing that, like, I mean, obviously, like, some people are better at guitar than others, and some people are better at reading cards than others, whatever. But it's, don't defer your power. Don't give away your power thinking that you don't have that in you and that you need and somehow to get permission from a perceived authority to, you know, to get the answers you want. Yeah, so you don't need, 47 saying you don't need it. You don't need to get a reading from your advisor, and that's probably why they're not doing it. Yeah. The expertise element of the saint would also say that you have the ability yourself. Okay. Abraxas. What should I know at this moment? You need to heal, man. The healer. So strange, because I know that's the answer you need as well by talking to you. Chill, relax. Let yourself come back to what you need to come back to. Don't be forcing it. Don't be making it, wanting it quicker. Allow, you know, you got kicked and you fell down. Maybe you should stay in the ground for a while and wait till you're ready to get up. Oh, you know best. I'm extrapolating from certain things I know about your life, which I shouldn't do given the reading, but it's hard to not in this case, particularly when it seems to be on so much on money. Yeah, so just look after yourself, man. Augustine, which of the servants wants to talk to me for the next 30 days? Well, there you go. That's who wants to talk to you. The moon. Hope, but with all the negative aspects of hope that can't be ignored. Light in the darkness, something that you're not looking at, but also illusions and lies in that the moon, while it is radiant and beautiful and serene, one of my favorite things in existence, also doesn't have their own light. It's a reflection of someone else's light. Joanna Price. This is the end. We did well. I thought we might take longer, but I think we were pretty snappy today. Joanna, how do I find a door or doors? Good question. You find it, that's the saint for the audio people, you find it by finding an intermediary who knows where the doors are. An expert in the area of whatever it is, who has already gone through the doors and can guide you on the way. So if it's if you're looking for an awakening, find someone who's awakened and make sure they are, and not just claiming it. If you want to build a house, find someone who's already built a house or knows how to build a house, rather than people just talk about it or seem to know a lot of things but no actual practical knowledge about it. Find the actual expert, the person who knows what they're talking about. Or even if you don't have an inability to find the full expert, at least be aware that if someone is giving you advice around these things, that it's just opinion and that it's not necessarily fact unless it's coming from experience. And even with experience, subjective and objective things, your experience could be different. Who knows? All of these things. Take it all with a grain of salt. But the call is to find an intermediary who can help you, an expert in the field that can show you the way. So, good people of the internet, that is another month of the one card divinations. We also do a Q&A, which we didn't get to do last month because I literally ran out of time. I'm still behind on everything, as usual. And sometimes things just, fall to the wayside. So we will do a Q&A. I have a couple of other kind of vlog-emo videos that I want to do, a couple of topics that I want to talk about. And all going to plan. The next chapter of Turbine Syndrome will be out, I'll not say it, it will be out next week at the latest. And then the following week from whenever this chapter comes up on Patreon, issue 2, which is the collection of the last 3 chapters, will be available, on a PDF, pay what you want, global release, available for everyone, not just on Patreon. So that's very exciting. I am hoping that I finish it today. I'm so close, but I'll not jinx it. So come join us in Discord. All the links are in the description. Check out Lieber Spud's new Spud's podcast, Lieber Spud. His latest episode is with Marco about Thelema and Crowley and cults. What else did we do? There was a Tommy and Spud talk about podcast. Well, there's one every week, so check them out. And be well. Have a great week, and hopefully we're coming to the end of all this pandemic stuff, and we are going into a bigger, brighter, more glorious future. That's the hope anyway. Good people of the internet, until next time, be well and may your best days be ahead.